All right, it looks like there's still some people joining, so I'm going to wait a couple more minutes just while everything's getting transferred over. All right, I think it's okay for us to go ahead and get started. I haven't seen more people joining in the past minute or so. But first off, I would like to welcome everyone that is here today. My name is Ashley Bear. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I am the manager for guest and housing operations over in University Residences. We would like to welcome everyone to our first housing and dining webinar for the summer. We are excited that you're here and hope to answer all of your questions about fall 2023 move-in today. As move-in is fast approaching, we would like to focus the conversation more on the move-in experience, but we're also open to any and all types of questions about living on campus that do pop up. Please also note that the webinar is going to be recorded so we can share the information presented tonight with those who couldn't attend. Thank you again for joining us. We are going to start by introducing our panelists, but we are really here to answer all of your questions. So please start putting any questions that you might have in the chat. And we'll make sure that we send those questions to our panelists also to ask live if there are important ones. We do have 3 chat moderators that are going to be pretty active in the chat. So you'll probably see Alvin, Hannah, or Jensen answering questions as they come through. But I'll go ahead and let our panelists as well introduce themselves. Richard, would you like to start off?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Richard Henderson. I use the he series pronouns. I'm an assistant director for Residence Life. I'm also overseeing the move-in committee group that Ashley referenced. I've been at Western for around 8 years. I am from Dundee, Scotland. I went to University of Nevada, Reno, Kansas State, Mackenzie University. So been around a little bit and excited to welcome you all to campus here in a few weeks.
Thank you, Richard. David will be joining us a little bit later today, but he is one of our other assistant directors in Residence Life. Once he does join, I will pause and let him introduce himself, but he'll be stepping in as well to answer questions that do arise throughout the webinar this afternoon. Dante, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, my name is Dante Perry. I'm the resident district manager with Dining Services. I just moved to Bellingham from Utah, and I'm really excited to be here at Western and work with everyone and serve some great food. So looking forward to an engaging conversation, and I hope you guys came with lots of questions.
Thank you, Dante. And then Nikki, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. Hi, everyone. I'm Nikki Hamzaev. I am a division marketing director supporting dining at WWU, and I'm super excited to be here and answer questions along with Dante around dining. My role really focuses on providing an amazing student experience to our campus community. So looking forward to meeting you in the fall and meeting parents as well, and looking forward to the questions.
All right, so before we do open up the bulk of the webinar to questions that could pop up for common topics that are tied to move-in, we want to provide a very fast overview of the move-in experience, just to give a lot of context to what fall move-in actually looks like for those of you who are first-time students coming into Western, as well as just provide helpful information about where to find the information that you might need if you haven't been able to see the communication that has been sent out to you yet. So generally speaking, a lot of the information that you might need or to be able to find regarding move-in can easily be accessed on the housing website. If you ever do navigate to it, you will immediately see on our front page at the top on the right a link towards move-in. This is an entire web page devoted just to move-in information. So it's really important that you all access this as soon as you are able to do so to review any information, especially with your family or friends who might be helping you move in. So you know where to go as well as what to do ahead of time, because there are some things that you might need to do in preparation for your move-in experience. So the first thing that you all should make sure that you do is actually first use this initial link where it says move-in app. It's important that you do that because that is how you will actually sign up for your move-in time slot, which would be on either the 21st of September on Thursday, Friday the 22nd, Saturday the 23rd, or Sunday the 24th. Once you do have a move-in slot, you'll have a lot of information sent to you about your move-in experience as a whole. It's also really important that we have individuals sign up for those specific time slots because it helps make sure that your entire process is a lot faster for yourself when you do arrive, and it makes your overall experience a little bit more pleasant. But the overall arrival process, once you do have your move-in day and time, is just arrive at your specific time slot. So there are specific routes that you will want to pay attention to. If you actually scroll towards the bottom where it says where to arrive, you'll see an overarching view of the entire campus. And this is based off of the different areas that you might be living in the fall quarter. So for instance, if you know that you're going to be moving into Buchanan Towers, which is in our south bar of campus, you'll want to make sure that on the day of your move-in time, that you go to the staging area C, which will be located near the C lot in the south bar of campus. Once you actually do follow the instructions later down on the website as well with information about how to arrive to those specific staging zones, you actually get directed to your different residence hall of mode zones, where you can park your car for about 20 to 30 minutes, making sure that someone is on site with the car though, for the purpose of unloading all of your items. If you go actually further down, you can actually see specific directions about how to reach the different staging areas of the campus. And that actually provides pretty specific information based on how you are arriving to Bellingham from different parts of the state. So if you're arriving northbound versus southbound on I-5, you'll see specific information about what exits to take, what roads to take, and so on and so forth to make sure you get to the correct staging areas for your area. Once you arrive at those staging areas, you'll actually be able to state your car initially, and we will provide you with a car tag while you are in queue. It's important to make sure you keep that car tag on your car, as well as that when you are unloading, that someone is staying with your car on site. Unfortunately, while you are unloading your car, you can't leave it alone for the 20 to 30 minutes that you are unloading. Someone does need to stay with the vehicle at all times. But when you initially arrive and you are first off in your, when you first arrive to that queue, you'll need to make sure that as a student that's coming in that you have your photo ID with you, as well as know the information for your room and building information. That helps make your overall process a little bit more expedited, so you're not having to wait a little bit longer. And so while you're in queue, you can actually go up to our different tents where we will have keys and key packets that we will actually provide to you that are the keys to your room. Those keys can either be a brass key, a key fob, which is a little circular plastic disc that works on our exterior entrances to buildings, or some of our buildings have a little white plastic key card that will work for both your bedroom and on the exterior doors. And that is more building specific based on the area that you live in. Once you're in queue, you'll follow the different directions that you and the signs that we have up that will lead you to your specific unload zones for your area that you live in. Where you will unload. We will have welcome team and Western Welcome Team members during the initial move-in official time slots, which are from around 9 a.m. to about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And they're individuals who are volunteers that will help actually unload your cars and all of your items and bring it up to your rooms. It's a great experience for students because it's a great way to meet individuals from the campus. We have a variety of volunteers that are staff, faculty, or students, or individuals who are current residents on campus as well. That serve on that welcome team. And it's a great way to make some of those initial introductions to being one of our Viking members. But once you do unload your car and everything is taken care of, you'll then just make sure that you move your vehicle to the C lot. And the C lot is actually located pretty close by where the south area staging grounds are. It's actually a free lot to make sure that individuals aren't going to be ticketed during that move-in time slot period. We want to make sure that you and your parents don't accidentally get a ticket from our parking services department. So please make sure that you are parking in the appropriate areas. There is also some off-site parking around campus. That's really important to make sure that you're not parking in an area that's closed off for move-in or an area that requires a specific permit. Just make sure that you don't get a ticket during that duration of time. If, however, you are going to be arriving at any time that is outside of the traditional check-in time period, you'll actually want to make sure that you check in at your area desk. So there are area desks throughout campus, and you can actually check in at the desk any time between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. during the move-in period. If, however, you're arriving outside of that time period, i.e. from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., you want to make sure that you do contact your area's after-hour line. And those after-hour phone numbers are posted around the different halls, and I'll get you in contact immediately with one of the individuals on call for your area who will help assist you with your check-in. Again, please be aware, even if it is after hours, that unload time period of 20 to 30 minutes is still in effect. So please make sure that you don't have your car parked, especially outside of our buildings, in a spot that is not a parking spot, for more than that time zone. Just make sure that other people who have to unload do have the chance to do so effectively. Alrighty, so that is a just very fast overview of some information, more in regards to the basics of fall move-in. What we'll do now is move into some common questions that do pop up from individuals regarding more towards the on-campus move-in experience, as well as living on campus. As we're going through that, please also put questions into the chat, and we do have moderators who are answering questions live there. So if there are things that do pop up, feel free to put them there. We'll kind of move into some of the duration of this time now for Q&A. So the first questions that we do have are going to be actually for Residence Life. So Richard, if you want to answer this one, who is allowed to help our students move in? Who should they bring with them?
So yeah, immediate family. We don't want everyone. We don't want grandma, cousins, and aunts, and they can all come to be part of maybe the lunch, the dinner, but just immediate. Whoever's helping you, Carlo, they can help you come in. So we're really looking at like 2 per family, ideally, because obviously we block the cars and all that, and family members can help move in. There does have to be someone stay with the vehicle all times, but other family members are welcome, or support personnel are welcome. But with the vehicle itself, really only want a +2 with the student who is moving in. But yeah, we encourage everyone to come. We will have certain things for family members to do during that time. There's a letter writing, there's usually some coffee, there's some engagement pieces for family members as well. We hopefully will have so many Western welcome leaders and volunteers that we can unload the car in and around 6 minutes, so they can move people on.
Great, thank you. The next question is going to be for dining. So either Nikki or Dante, when does dining officially open for fall quarter?
That's a wonderful question. We will have services available on campus during move-in weekend from 5 to 8 p.m. in the dining commons, as well as a few of the markets, specifically BT Station, Ridge Station, and the Viking Union.
Thank you. Another question is going to be for assignments. So if an individual wants to come in early to view their space, is that allowed? Unfortunately, people cannot come in before the move-in time slot that they're assigned for to check out the spaces, view measurements and such, just because we are in a process of turning over all of the residence halls in preparation for fall opening to make sure that all the spaces are clean and ready to go. That being said, there are different opportunities to have an early arrival, one of which is actually to volunteer with the Western Welcome Team, if you would like to do so. They do have the opportunity to get into their fall spaces a few days early, moving in for September the 17th rather than the 21st. And part of the duration of that volunteering is just helping with the Western Welcome Team. So that will be in one of those positions where you're helping individuals unload their cars and really get integrated and welcome to the Western campus. It's a great opportunity as well for a lot of incoming students and people, because quite a few individuals who do volunteer with the program are new or returning students, you can give a lot of that context to what it's like living in Bellingham. Other programs do have individual ways of requesting early arrivals. So if you are in a group that does have an early arrival time frame, make sure you're working with your group coordinators, professors, or coaches for preseason athletes on what that time frame looks like. Let's see. The next question is going to be for Residence Life. So Richard, are there any meetings or info sessions that students should attend to learn more about the building that they're moving into?
Yes, absolutely. So maybe the chat moderators can put this in there, but there is meetings for each building. So for example, if you went to Housing WEDU, you'll see under Life on Campus, you'll see Explore the Buildings. So if you lived in Edens Hall, for example, you would click there, and they have a Zoom meeting on Tuesday, August 29th at 2:30. So they're all on the Tuesday or Wednesday, the 29th or the 30th. They'll be recorded if you can't make it. We hope you can. They're also, it's for residents moving in as well as support folks that, we know that's a transition as well for family members who have been involved in this, and we know that can be an impact too. So there's going to be information for both people on how that works, and maybe some good practices as well. So yeah, all that, you can find that information online. We'll put the link in the chat. But if you click Explore the Buildings and pick whatever hall or community you're in, Birnam Wood, Fairhaven, Nash, Mathis, it will tell you at the top in a big yellow box what time. It'll have a link there as well. Once we do move in, there will be floor meetings and stack meetings, depending on, if you're in Fairhaven Stack 6, for example, your resident advisor will have a floor meeting as well. And we usually start with a floor dinner, that you get all that information as well. So those are the kind of the key things that you'll have immediately. But the first one is prior to even coming in, you'll get some information from your resident director. Our resident directors, just so you know, are live-in master's level staff. We have sometimes 2 professional staff members who live in the building. I did that for a few years, and they kind of coordinate the student staff and help with all things around facilities, maintenance, but really about the the student experience. If there's issues with living environments, roommates, or people want help with jobs, or getting connected with resources on campus, the resident directors are fantastic resources in the buildings that you'll get to meet at these meetings as well.
Thank you, Richard. So next question is actually a little bit tied to that, but it's one I can also answer because I can show and share my screen. But there is a question about if an individual wants to see information about their residence halls or learn more about them, are there ways to see information online? So actually on our housing website, if you actually navigate up to the top where it says Life on Campus, you can actually see different areas where you can explore the buildings. And a lot of the areas are listed out. So for instance, if you wanted to get information about Alma Park Glass or Kappa, you would just click on that. And as Richard mentioned, there is information about how to access those fall meetings at the top of each of those community pages. But there also are a lot of pictures of the different areas, so people can see what the exteriors and the interiors of rooms, what might look like, so you can get an idea of what you're going to be moving into. But there's also a lot of information that is really beneficial for you to be able to see as a student, including the ways to get in contact with the area desk during desk hours. If you have a lockout, the specific individual who to call, different mailing addresses for the area, as well as information about where to find amenities within the buildings. So for instance, there are a few kitchens within Clark Glass, as well as a couple in Kappa, and they will give you the exact room numbers of places are located, including the same for laundry rooms, which is really important to make sure you're aware of where to go to for your laundry. All righty. So the next question is for Res Life as well. So Richard, do the rooms have wired internet access or is it just Wi-Fi?
They have both. Yeah, they have every room and lounge has wired access for Ethernet cables. Obviously, it's really most common now for just Wi-Fi. We have made huge upgrades to the Wi-Fi. It's never as fast and as everyone wants it to be, but yes, we have both capabilities in every room and lounge on campus. We should, unless things have changed. There might be some rooms, but yes, we have both.
Great. For dining, so Dante or Nikki, can you explain what dining dollars are in the meal plan? and how they are different from meal swipes to get into the dining halls.
Dante, you want me to take that? So sure. So dining dollars. So your meal plan comes with two components. There's meal swipes, which give you access to one all-you-care-to-eat meal in one of the 3 dining halls that you swipe in for. So it's kind of like a token almost, right? The swipe, like you swipe in, you get access to all the different platforms. You can take as much or as little as you want, and come back for more if you want during that same meal period. The other component of your dining plan is dining dollars. And so those are a dollar for dollar tender that is loaded on your card, and you can use this in any of the retail locations that are on campus that are dining retail locations. So whether that is Subway or Starbucks or, you know, one of the markets on campus or one of the coffee shops or other brands that we have, you can use those to buy, you know, like if you go to a sandwich shop and it's $6.50 for a sandwich, it's $6.50 worth of dining dollars that come off your card. So I hope that answers that question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Alrighty. For Richard. So Richard, do you want to talk about what laundry looks like, both during and after move-in, just so individuals are aware? Do they need to bring money with them? Should they be worried about detergent?
Yeah, so we don't charge for laundry. So you can do as much as you want. And each community has those resources. And there is if you look at our facilities page, if it's ever broken down or anything, there's like an app version that we can, you know, put in for to get it fixed. We only ask that you're cognizant of, you know, not leaving your laundry in there for hours, days upon end. And other than that, you don't have to bring huge amounts of detergent. You can, based on our community desks and some other places we have on campus, we can help with that, but you should. But the biggest part is we have quite a lot. I would say there's some high peak moments for laundry, so I would bring everything washed as you move in. But yeah, they'll be available as soon as you move in if you need to do a load of laundry. We just ask that you obviously are cognizant of how long it takes and you're not leaving things in the dryers for, you know, extended periods of time and making sure that people can't use it. But it's completely free, and so no cost. You don't need to bring a roll of quarters or anything like that.
Okay, thank you. For dining, so what types of dietary specific needs can you meet, or if individuals have common allergens, how should they address finding good dining options for themselves on campus?
I'll take that one as well. So we have a couple different things that I think really help support students that have, you know, special dietary needs or have allergens. First of all of our menus in the dining hall will label foods that are vegan or vegetarian or avoiding gluten. So there'll be an icon system in place for that, which is really great. As well as we have our menus that are on our dining website, which we can definitely send out to the group here. But it's dineoncampus.com/WWU. And through there, when we have our operations open in the fall, you'll be able to go on there and see the menu for any location. And you can literally click on any menu item and see the all the ingredients that are available for each of those items, as well as those same icon system is available on our website, as well as calories and portions. And then we have the Dine on Campus app, which is a modified version of our website, which students primarily use for hours, events, promotions, and specifically, again, meals, which is really great to help them navigate like what dining hall is serving what for that day. And again, they can look and filter by allergen, which is really helpful. We also have a tool called Don't Be Shy, Self-Identify. And through our dining website, students can actually go in and create a profile, if you will, and they can indicate if they are allergic to anything. They can identify if they have one of the top allergens, whether it's soy or gluten or whatever it is, where they can type in something specific. And what that does is that actually comes to our executive chef, as well as anyone else that is on our leadership team that typically works with special dietary needs. And it creates a one-on-one relationship with them, with us on the dining side and the student, so they can feel comfortable navigating through how to eat on campus. And so we'll reach out to them and actually kind of talk them through what their options are and how to navigate around their allergen. Dante, what am I forgetting? I know there's other things. We have so many, I feel like, outlets for this.
Additionally, we have a dietitian on campus. So we'll
The
be putting-
dietitian.
Yep, absolutely. So dining specifically has a dietitian on campus who will be meeting with students who have any type of concerns or need to navigate through our dining program and learn how to best utilize their meal plan throughout our spaces.
Alrighty, thank you both. So we do have a couple of people that have their hands raised in the chat, so I do want to allow them to ask some questions. So I'm going to allow the first individual to speak. I believe I just gave you access. You'll need to unmute yourself. Looks like John does. Did you have a specific question? Possibly not. That's okay. So we'll move into our other questions that we have seen pretty commonly. So it looks like for Res Life, are there any types of COVID restrictions that are still in place or things that we should be aware of in the residence halls? So are masks still required or anything that they should be aware of for their living arrangements?
No, we have kind of moved to a living, with COVID mindset. So there is, in terms of the signups, and there's the vaccination pieces, but there's no mask requirements at this point. Of course, it's good practice. We urge people, if they are sick, to not be going out and interacting with others. But there is no current COVID restrictions. We follow the Washington State guidelines, and so there's nothing in place.
All right, thank you. A couple of other questions that I have seen pop through, as well as I know might come up as well. So if an individual does not have an assignment yet made to them in the system, when should that be arising? So there are a few people who haven't had their fall placements finalized yet. We are finalizing all those placements in the next couple of weeks. So it's really important that you keep an eye on your housing portal. Any updates to your fall assignments will be posted there, including information on your roommates. So it's a good idea just to keep an eye on those. If you're noticing that you don't have access to the move-in app, that's also, a move-in time slot. That's also partially why. So being able to sign up for a time slot is directly linked to having a fall assignment in our system. So if you're not able to access the Sign Up Genius or the sign up link for choosing your time slot, that could be why. If, however, you do have a fall assignment and you're seeing that in your housing portal, but you can't sign up for your time slot, please feel free to email the housing office at housing@wwu.edu, and we'll be able to assist you with that. That's also tied to if, like, let's say, for instance, that you only have a very specific window of time that you are able to move in during the move-in time period across September 21st to the 24th, but there are no time slots open or available at that time any longer. Please email the housing office and we'll see what we are able to accommodate. We can't promise that we will be able to make those accommodations. However, we will try to the best of our abilities. But again, if there are any issues specifically with getting into the system or with your assignments, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So the next question is going to be for Residence Life. So are students able to keep their bikes in the dorms, or are there areas where they should store their bikes around campus?
Yeah, good question. Yes, well, no, they're not allowed to store them in the room, but there are lots of predetermined bike storage areas. So like in Eden's, for example, next to the front desk, there's an internal storage piece. Like in Buchanan Towers, there's also bike storage areas. And we're looking to extend bike storage areas all across campus. So there is bike storage across campus and across the communities. We do also really encourage people to register their bike with our university police department. So and they can be tagged, and we can know where they show up. So not in the room because of fire code, but there is bike storage available in the communities, and it's different. There's not every community has internal bike storage, but the majority of them do.
All right, thank you, Richard. The next question is going to be for dining. So Dante or Nikki, you earlier mentioned that there will be dinner options throughout the move-in time period. Are there other options throughout the day for either breakfast or lunch in any of the areas around campus or any of the cafes?
Yes, absolutely. So we are opening Starbucks and the Market in Arnson Hall at the Atrium Monday through Friday, as well as Viking Union will be open as well Monday through Friday, with residential dining halls, Viking Commons, Fairhaven Commons, and Ridgeway Commons being open on the weekends.
All right, thank you. Next question is going to be for Residence Life. So Richard, after individuals finish moving all their items in, what are some things that they can do around campus or for move-in weekends? What should they be doing in their halls? Are there ways that they can connect that initial first couple of days?
Yeah, we encourage them to do so. I mean, we'll be more than half full before the end of the weekend. So there'll be lots of people there. We have staff on call. We have staff in the buildings. When they get there, like Dante said, the majority of things are open. There will be hall community individual events happening that they can go to, and so they'll get those at the virtual meeting as well as any floor meeting. They should definitely attend their floor or stack meeting with their resident advisor, because they'll give them everything that happens through Welcome Week, which comes after the move-in. But there's late night at the rec, there's movie on the lawn, there's the Pub Info Fair at Red Square. So there's a lot that happens before classes on the Wednesday through the weekend up to then. So most of it is events programming that is kind of between on campus, the Viking Union and Multicultural Center, a lot of the clubs, as well as campus in general. So definitely connecting with their student staff, their resident advisor, their resident director as soon as they get there, because they probably will be half to 3/4 full before Sunday. And so there's usually a lot happening, but there'll definitely be things happening in hall and on campus Thursday through Sunday and all the way to Wednesday before classes start.
All right, and actually just saw a question pop up that I'm going to answer live, just because it's something that is more of a guest housing specific question. So for individuals who have a roommate that might be part of an early arrival program similar to preseason athletes or sports programs that might be moving in before the 21st, is it okay for the roommate who does not have an early arrival to bring items to the spaces ahead of time, even if they are not moving in until after September 21st? No, if you are not able to, if you personally are not moving in until the 21st or after, you want to make sure that you don't move in your items early, especially for any of our preseason areas, because there are some specific individuals who have early arrivals that actually started arriving this month for preseason athletic training. Or we have a couple of other groups that have extensions, but they're not actually in their official fall assignments right now. The earliest that people can be into their official fall spaces is actually going to be September the 17th. So individuals who are actually in spaces before that would have to move all the items from their current spaces to their fall placement. So we want to make sure that we are being mindful of our roommates' times, as well as what's in those spaces for them. But then also, if you personally do want to get in a couple of days early, I would really recommend looking at some of those early arrival options, including helping volunteer with the Western Welcome Team program. It is a great way, again, to connect, but it's also one of those ways to be able to get on campus a little bit earlier than the 21st if people want to do so. The next question that we have is going to be over for, let's see, dining. So a couple of questions have arisen about gluten-free vegetarian options. Are there a lot of options available to individuals who might be on a gluten-free or vegetarian diet, or who might have restrictions such as a keto type diet? Like, what options do they usually see on a daily basis?
Yeah, certainly. So one thing that we run in all of our residential dining programs is an allergen-free station. that would accommodate a gluten-free menu. We run a menu cycle unique to each individual location across campus. So with the 3 dining halls, they will all have different menus featuring different foods every day of the week. We also rotate that menu from lunch to dinner and from day to day. So we're turning over the menu cycle to preventing the type of palate fatigue throughout a diverse and culturally relevant menu cycle. Along with that, we focus heavily on providing food that's minimally processed, lean proteins. We will have some of the staples that we all love, whether it's, the mac and cheese and the burgers or the pizzas and things of that nature. And there are some things that we just can't do, avoiding those allergens. However, making sure that we have a diverse menu available to all of our residents is a really important part of our program.
Thank you. The next question is going to be for Richard. So after individuals finish unloading and moving in all of their items during the move-in period, are they required to immediately be into their rooms that evening, or are they able to return home with their family for the rest of the weekend before classes?
They could do that, yeah. Once you've got the keys and you move in, the kind of space is yours. So you can be there as much as you want to or not. Obviously, we'd like you to be there, spend some time, get to know your, roommate, suite mate, floor mates, or whatnot, and there's events happening. But yeah, you don't have to stay there the whole time if you've, want to do a family thing and go and, you're going to be there for the next 10 weeks or so. So yeah, as long as you obviously take a key with you, and once you're checked in, the space is kind of yours to come and go as you please.
Thank you. The next question is one that I will go ahead and take an answer for. So the question is, what are the bed sizes? And do regular twin sheets work on our beds? So all our beds on campus are twin XL beds. So actually it is a separate size sheet. So for a fitted sheet specifically, regular twin sheets usually won't actually be the correct length and might slip off the bed pretty easily. So it's pretty important that you are getting the correct size sheets for your bed, just so they stay in place for you and that you are pretty comfortable in those spaces. All of our beds as well do, some of our beds have the option to be lofted. Some of them are a bunk style bed as well. So you will see that there are a couple of configurations for the types of furniture in the space. Let's see. Next question is going to be for Residence Life as well. So Richard, what does safety and security look like in the halls?
So, no one can access our buildings without, depending on what building you're in, either a brass key or a fob or, a swipe card. There's a couple of buildings like Alma-Clark Glass where for certain hours of the day they can get into, because it's a accessibility pathway you can get through, but you can't get through into the residential piece. So majority of residential rooms have either 2 locked doors or at least a locked door behind, preventing them there. We have staff that do rounds daily, particularly at night. Obviously, we have live-in staff that are work in the building. And we have live-in staff who are around the building as well during the day. And then we also have university police who don't do rounds necessarily, but do rounds of campus and have, I think, a 2-minute response time if needed. And they are fully functional, just like the Bellingham Police Department or the Kent Police Department. They have those same capabilities, but they are not. They don't act, in a way to try and kind of fight crime. They're there to, act as a resource and safety for campus. So we have, for our own campus of 4,400 live-on students, having our own police department is quite rare and really really advantageous to us. So yeah, student staff and fresh staff in the buildings during the day. There will be rounds of the building for making sure doors are closed, nothing's propped open, windows, any people who are not supposed to be there would be reported. And we do have on campus, obviously, university police, as well as some student cadets and facilities folks who also go around and do checks of the buildings and the spaces as well.
Yeah. Let's see. So next question is going to be for dining. So as individuals get prepped for meal planning or just figuring out their meal plans that they have, do dining dollars carry over quarter to quarter, or do they only stay within the 1 quarter?
$19 will be expiring at the end of the semester.
All right, thank you. Let's see. So for residence life, are there specific things that students should not bring with them to campus? Because we do see suggested packing lists, and people have seen those, but there isn't necessarily a list of things that they should leave behind.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that when I saw it, because we do bring what's suggested. I mean, I think anything that would fall under prohibited items, right? So firearms, weapons, flammable materials, any large appliances that are like electric hot plates, burners, toasters, toaster ovens, and space heaters, electric blankets, hoverboards, a portable AC unit, piano, I think, and also those are kind of more prohibited in terms of our community standards, but I've seen people bring like, big love seats and things like that without knowing the space, and then it become kind of, really cluttered. And so each room is furnished. So I think you can always bring more, depending on what you need. I think it's great if we can communicate with roommate and suite mate or whatnot, and who's all doing what. 'Cause if everybody brings a love seat, then, you can imagine what would go on. So yeah, the prohibited items, definitely take a look at those, which are parallel to the suggested kind of essentials of what to bring. But I would think, my advice would be less is more. I know it might sound contradictory because you might not might not be able to go home as easy to bring these things, but like I said, you have the bed and the desk and the chairs. It's nice to bring kind of your own love seat or whatnot, but I think it's important communication with roommate as well on who's bringing what, right? And you can already set the tone and have some parameters around that as well, so you don't clutter your space with things that then you don't need and can't take home until Thanksgiving or a different time.
All right, thank you. The next question that we have looks like it's about mattresses. So are mattresses in the space, and if they are they comfortable? So we do have mattresses provided in all of our bed spaces. So if you do have an assignment, you will see there is going to be a mattress on your bed frame. Mattresses are a fairly standard mattress that you would see in the residence halls. Quite a few people do like to bring a mattress cover or a mattress topper, just for a little bit more additional comfort. But it's okay to provide those. Just make sure that when you are moving out, that you're properly disposing of them. So you're just not leaving them in the space once you do move out at the end of spring term. Residence life. What is Viking Launch, and how is it different from working with the Western Welcome team?
The Viking Launch is attached to credit and is kind of part of an early introduction into Western itself in terms of classes and belonging to the school itself. Is really kind of a jump start part of it, where the Western Welcome team has parts of that element, but it's also really focusing purely on move-in and helping students get connected in that piece. So one is really connected to kind of a first year orientation, and the other one is really early move-in comes from assisting with move-in to help. And a lot of people from there do end up being members of our leadership groups on campus. A lot of the future RAs come from that group as well. But yeah, that's the essential difference.
Thank you. So Richard, actually, there's another question, a couple of questions for you, actually. In the residence halls, are there curfews? Are there specific times that they have to be within the buildings after move-in?
Unfortunately, maybe for the family, no. Like I said, you're young adults at this point. There is quiet hours that each community will have. So again, we are parallel to to being good students of our academic pursuits, and so we do have that set, but there's not a curfew. You can kind of come and go as you please. Some people work night shift. We have students who do different things, or across visiting a friend at a different place for a movie night or for an event or whatnot. So there's no curfew in terms of it's really the resources that change. So the desk would close at 9 p.m. right? So if you wanted to play pool or ping pong or whatnot, then that would change. And so, but again, other than that, once you have the space, it's kind of yours to operate, how you like. But we do have staff around 24/7. I think that's probably the most important message, is that we have somebody, a professional staff member, on call. I'm one of those, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And so there's always someone that can respond. But quiet hours are what's in effect, and even then we expect that there's a certain level of music or whatnot, as long as it's not disturbing your entire floor. At midnight when people have an 8 a.m. class, we would ask that you comply with that.
Thank you. So next question is actually going to be for dining. So Dante and Nikki, with the meal plans, how many meals can you reasonably get with them? And if so, what are the different sizes between the meal plans?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a variety of different meal plans offered to the students. However, they are consistent with what we offered last year. We aren't making any changes to the meal plan structure. So we've got an unlimited meal plan, a block 125, a block 100, and for specific individuals, a block 80.
And I think also, so I'm just going to add one thing onto that. I think for students that kind of eat those 3 square meals a day or want that unlimited access, the unlimited plan is a really great place to start, because it's I would always start high and size down as needed, because first time students are coming on campus, sometimes they eat differently than how they ate at home too. So we certainly don't want anyone running out of meals, so that's always a really good place to start.
Thank you. For Richard, so in the residence halls, are there specific appliances that are forbidden from use that they should not be bringing with them, or should they bring spare appliances to the kitchen for use?
Yeah, I would look at the prohibited items. I think it was probably posted. So any like hazardous or large appliances, like electric hot plates, burners, toasters, toaster ovens. We do have kitchenettes in the majority of spaces for that. But yeah, again, those pieces like space heaters, electric blankets, as well as the big appliances, should not bring, because those are prohibited items, because everybody outside of Bournemouth has a meal plan, and outside of that, there's also kitchenettes which have those things. I just talked about, in a more safer space, and with the compliance restrictions that we can have, depending on which building you're at. But the majority of it do have a large scale kitchenette or multiple or smaller kitchenettes and stacks and suites that they could, cook and have snacks and things like that. But yeah, I would look at the prohibited items list for the appliances. That's the best way to be safe.
Thank you. So we do have a few questions that popped up in the chat for dining, so I'll just kind of be going through a couple of those. So is there a difference between dining dollars and Viking dollars, or are they the same?
I can take that one. So dining dollars are the official tender that come with the specific meal plans, but Viking dollars are a way for students to add additional dollars to their plans, or if you don't have a meal plan and you just want to buy Viking dollars, you can do that. So they're still used at all the different dining locations. So whether it's a residential hall or it's a retail location or a market, you can use your Viking dollars at any of those. So really any on-campus dining location. And then you can purchase as much as you want, right? So if you want to load up big, you can do that. Or if you want to buy in smaller packages and see how much you use and then add more as needed, you can do that as well.
All right, thank you. And then the next question I have, looks like there are a couple about this. Are you all anticipating any changes with the dining options around campus, specifically with the restaurants that are in the Viking union?
So understanding that move-in week is right around the corner. We are not making any substantial changes to the dining program. So Panda Express, Subway, Starbucks, locations like that, they are not going anywhere this year. We're going to be engaging with the students and communities and focus groups and panels and discussing what type of options the students would like to see on campus. We do have some really exciting proposed renovations for the dining facilities on campus next year during the summer, but there's just not enough time from the time that we've gotten on campus to school starting to be able to make any of those changes.
For residence life, a couple other questions popped up that could be good for y'all to kind of speak on. In regards to parking around the residence halls, there are a couple of spots that are marked for residential students, but are there other areas close by the buildings that they could park in if they're not able to get one of those spots?
Yeah, there is street parking that's available for all communities. Yeah, I mean, so there's lots obviously assigned to each building, and the sooner the better to get those. But there is street parking, like for example, like North Campus, trying to get up on around College Way or High Street, or you can be down a few minutes down there. So get into there early if you are going for street parking, but it is available for anywhere residentially, like on the Ridge or on South Campus. There's a little more options available, but yeah, the on-campus parking is the best option if you can get there sooner. But there is street parking available for anywhere. I think it gets a little bit more spacious from south to north, and it changes from time of day, particularly when staff and faculty leave. It opens up a lot more.
Thank you. For dining, so for Dante or Nikki, if an individual doesn't use all of the money on their dining plan, whether they don't use all of their meal swipes or if they don't use all their dining dollars, what happens? Do they get a refund, or does the money essentially just disappear?
So at the end of the academic year, or at the end of the academic year, if you don't use all of your dining money, it does expire. So what we tend to do from our perspective is like, we're very cognizant of like when money is going to end for the students. And not only do we try to send out reminders through like residential newsletters to students to keep them aware of that, but we'll have specific promotions in place to help them spend that money, because we know that students traditionally, like, there's going to be hoarders and there's going to be spenders. So there's going to be some that are really great at spending their meal plan, sometimes too quick, but we do have a balance tracker on our website to keep students kind of in the know of where they should be with their meal plan, which will be really helpful, and that'll go live when the meal plans start. But for those students that have a lot of money left over, we'll definitely want to help them spend it, whether it's beverage case sales or different bundles that they can take with them into wherever they're living over the summer or back home, or maybe it's the apartment that they're moving into or something like that. So we really try and focus on helping them spend that money so they don't feel like they're losing anything.
And Nikki, it's worth mentioning that I misspoke earlier, that the dining dollars do not in fact expire at the end of the quarter. They will roll over from the fall to winter to spring and expire at the end of the academic year.
Thank you. So next question is going to be for residence life, and it's actually about designated communities or affinity communities such as Pride Housing or Black Affinity Housing. Are there ways still to be involved with these groups if we haven't signed up, or are we still able to apply to live in these communities?
Yeah, definitely still possible. So, for example, if you want to be in Pride Housing or Black Affinity Housing and you do not live in that space, you would, we can connect you with the resident director and the inclusion assistant of those areas, and you can be added to whenever events and programs or trips happening. So you still have the ability to be connected just because, you don't live in that space. If space is available, it's possible to get in. Those spaces have been highly sought after. And so, but there's also a chance to be added to the wait list that in case anyone, moves out or transfers, you could move into that space. And that's obviously a separate piece, being in affinity housing as opposed to just being in the building. So again, I would connect with housing or through the resident director if you're already on campus or in the building. But there's no restriction that you cannot be part of, the events and things like that. Even if you live in a different building, we actually that happens quite semi-regularly, I would say. So you're still available to go from Nash to Alma Clark Glass, for example, to be involved, and then just not stay there. So yeah, but definitely possible. And if you're not already in those spaces but want to be in those spaces, connect with us, and we can either try and get you in, or if there's no space available, add you to our wait list, transfer list, to get into those.
Thank you. And then the next question is going to be for dining. It's about meal plans as well. So with selected meal plans, do they carry over quarter to quarter, or are there opportunities to reselect or change your meal plan?
So each individual meal plan is for the designated quarter in which it's purchased, and the meal plans do not roll over from quarter to quarter. There will be a window after the initial purchase period in the first 14 days of the quarter to be able to make changes, but those dates will be communicated when the cutoff to make those changes will occur.
All right. And then also for dining, some more questions just about dining dollars, it looks like. So is it easier, instead of purchasing a larger plan, to get a medium or lower plan and then just add dining funds as needed? Or would it be more cost effective to purchase a larger plan at the beginning?
It's going to vary by student and what your eating habits are. I feel like sometimes we have students that are grazers where they kind of snack throughout the day. So they might not want a super block heavy plan or meal swipe heavy plan. But students that are like square meal a day eaters that are used to like that breakfast, lunch, dinner, like want that experience, like they're probably going to use more blocks. So it's really going to vary. Like, I don't think we would say that it's necessarily more value, because like you could be someone that's a grazer and not use as much of your meal plan if you take a higher plan, because that's not how you're dining. So I think you have to look at how they eat as a student to kind of determine what plan is the best fit.
All right, thank you. The next question is going to be for Residence Life, and it's about pets on campus. Are pets allowed in the residence halls?
No, pets are not allowed. We do have probably around 50 or 60 registered animals through either accommodations through HR or Disability Access Centre, through emotional support animals. So if there is that documentation, we can post the website information here in the chat. You would go through those appropriate channels. So animals can be on campus, pets not. It would have to be a required need either through HR accommodation or through the emotional support animal process, which has the steps listed. We do have some buildings that are probably more apt to that than others. For example, the Alma Clark Glass has a washing station for animals, but a lot of our buildings are not set up to accommodate animals. But we do comply with state legislation around emotional support animals and service animals.
Thank you. During move-in, if we sign up for a specific move-in time slot, but we have to make changes, are we able to do so? Yes, if you do have any updates that you need to make, you're not able to reflect that on the move-in slot app. You can also email the housing office. So that's again, housing@wwu.edu. with any of those concerns, and we can again try to see what we can do to accommodate any of those changes for you. Other questions. So for Res Life, if there are issues that occur in the rooms that night, so let's say for instance that an individual has a conflict with their new roommate, who should they speak to about that?
Yeah, good question. So their resident advisor or apartment advisor or inclusion assistant are good people. Those are all student staff positions in the building. Those all report to resident directors. Again, those are the professional staff members that we have in the building. So first, best to go to there because, again, depending on what it is, if it's something that we think can be mediated, if it's something that is, around quiet hours or boundary restrictions or just needing help with facilitating a conversation or living in a shared space. But we also understand that sometimes things don't work out and we have to switch, we have to move, we have to relocate, and those things happen as well. But the in-building staff are the first people they should talk to. So that would be their own floor 3 resident advisor, stack 4 resident advisor, whatever that is. Anybody really in residence life, but those folks are the best people to start with and can get the ball rolling. We are full for fall, so space is very limited. So in terms of when we can do those things, that's where we have a lot of trained folks in kind of conflict mediation and boundary setting to help with that. But we're not going to leave someone in a space they're uncomfortable in or that's obviously not the right fit. And we have the staff available to do that. So that's who I would connect with first.
Okay, thank you. And then for dining, so for dining rates specifically, are the rate sheets currently posted to be for per the quarter or for the whole year? At least the website link has a breakdown for each quarter, but do we pay quarterly or is it a full year contract?
That might be a Richard question, actually, unless Dante knows. I actually don't know how that works. Sorry, everyone.
So the rates themselves are based off of the amount of days that are in each quarter. So that's why we see a difference in pricing between each plan, or I'm sorry, between each quarter.
And even just like thinking again, like quarter to quarter or just meal plans in general, when can meal plans be chosen if they haven't already done so? So what is the cutoff deadline for signing up for them? And then when should we purchase them by?
So if you're in housing, you probably already purchased it because it's part of like when you, if I'm not mistaken, if it's part of like your purchase process when you select your housing, it should ask for a meal plan. So if you didn't choose, you probably chose one, but if you didn't, there's a default plan. It's the middle plan is the default plan. But as Dante spoke to earlier, there is a change period. So if you didn't select one and it defaulted, or you selected one and don't remember what it is, there is a change window for like the first 2 weeks of school. Dante, you mentioned the date earlier.
Yeah, that is correct. And housing has specific requirements as to having meal plans based off of the locations that they're in. And Richard, I am unable to discuss or answer the housing contract side of that. But if you're in housing, you have a meal plan. And so maybe you could speak to that.
Sure. Ashley, can you restate the questions? I was answering one in the chat too.
Oh yeah, no, that's okay. It was just a general question about when they're signing up for their new plans. Is there a specific deadline to sign up and purchase one by? Or if they haven't chosen their specific dining plan yet, how would they go about doing so?
Oh yeah, well that comes obviously from the signing up for housing in general. You'll be asked to select your meal plan. If you don't select one, you'll be given one. So everyone except Burnham Wood has to have a meal plan. There are differing options depending on the community. Buchanan Towers is the only one that has more of a limited or had a limited meal plan option, but that's for multiple of reasons. So if you're having difficulty with that, contacting housing EDU, we can help you manage that. But if you don't select one, you will be enrolled in one because you cannot live in housing except Birnam Wood without one.
Perfect, thank you. And then for dining, there are a couple of questions again, just about dining dollars versus Viking dollars. So as we know, dining dollars do expire at the end of the academic year, but do Viking dollars also expire?
No, they don't, not until you graduate. So, and you can submit a request form for like the amount that you have left over to get reimbursed for it. So.
All right, thank you. For residence life, so Richard, are there different things in the halls that students can check out or borrow, such as pool equipment, gaming equipment, things that they can use in the halls that they might not bring?
Yeah, if you're an avid pool player or ping pong player, you can bring your cue or paddle, but you can check those things out. There's also games. We used to have a lot of DVDs and Blu-rays, but because of the streaming Netflix, that's kind of changed things. There's also checkout equipment. I think I saw a question in the chat around cooking kind of utensils and dishware. And so if that's kind of just you're not going to do it often, but you would like to cook a meal here and there, we do have kitchen appliances, kitchen equipment. Most don't have dishwashers, so you would have to wash them by hand and return them. We do expect that they're returned in the condition that they were given. Each community has that. There's also the residential checkout program that has fridges and other appliances, so that it came through the Office of Sustainability, so we're trying to downgrade on consumerism and everybody bringing kind of fridge appliances and leaving them. So there is that as well. I would definitely check that. I'm sure we can put the link in for you. But the front desk has games and the pool equipment and everything you need. And if they don't, you should again talk to your staff and we can look at supplying that. But there's usually an ample supply of pole balls, paddles for ping pong, maybe a paddle board, but if you want to go liquid, games particularly, there's a lot of board games and things like that at each community desk.
All right, thank you. For dining, what is the benefit of using Viking dollars versus dining dollars versus just using regular money such as card, cash, or debit?
There's quite a few advantages to the dining dollars. When we purchase the dining dollars from our Dine on Campus website, there is a small discount associated with larger purchases. So if you purchase your dining dollars in bulk, we do apply discounts to that based off of the size of the purchase. Additionally, you're able to redeem the dining dollars in unit tax-free. And it's all loaded onto your student ID, and so you don't have to carry additional tender. The Viking dollars is a little bit different, so I can't speak to the Viking dollars with it being a campus currency versus the dining currency. But we do offer some really cool programs with our dining dollars.
Yeah. So for residence life, if individuals want to change furniture around or replace the mattresses in their room, are they able to remove any of the furniture or items that we provide in the spaces?
So I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself. There can be things moved around, but we just ask that everything that's in the room stays in the room and is there when you leave. So we can add, you can move around. We obviously don't ask that people kind of bunk beds inappropriately without the proper tools. But yeah, everything in the room needs to stay in the room. Some places like Birnam Wood has storage places that they can keep things. But yes, everything that is in the room needs to stay in the room.
All right, thank you. It looks like the next question is going to be for dining. Are the different markets going to also be open this year? And do they have specific hour changes that students should be aware of during the move-in time slots?
Yeah, so we've got a stage approach to opening campus, focusing on the markets that are within residential spaces, particularly BT Station, Ridge Station, Fairhaven, and in addition, the Viking Union over a move-in weekend. Some of the other markets across campus will open during welcome week and then again on the first day of school. So focusing our efforts on making sure that the residences moving in over that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday period have easy access to food and beverages. Those particular markets will be open during that time.
Perfect, thank you. Next question is one that I will go ahead and answer, and it's just about how do individuals find out who their roommates are or what their housing assignment is. So when you log into your housing portal, all the information actually will show up on your main page. You'll be able to see what your upcoming fall assignment is, as well as your roommate assignments as well. It's really good just to double check that that's already showing up on your housing portal initially, because it's how you'll also make sure that you're able to, again, choose your move-in time slot for fall opening. Let's see. For dining, so we talked a little bit about dietary restrictions and ways to navigate or accommodate for allergies, but are there options for also if individuals would like to pursue an organic diet? So is there organic food that's going to be served in the halls?
Whereas we would love to be able to offer an organic variety of food available to students, it is somewhat cost prohibitive. And we can work through specific dining programs if there's unique circumstances that would influence that, but it is not part of our regular program.
And I'll add on to that real quick. Everything Dante said, great. But also sometimes when it comes to specific like programs or events that we do, whether it's like Earth Month or there's some type of sustainability focused program, you know, sometimes what we'll do is we'll see if it's viable for us to do a special event where we feature organic local farms or local partners or things like that. So it might vary by event where we will highlight, it'll be part of like a highlight to the event, but it's just not part of necessarily the everyday program.
Thank you. The next question is going to be for Residence Life. So Richard, after individuals finish moving all their items into their spaces with their family, do family have to stay on campus or are they able to head home? Alternatively, are parents or family members still able to hang out with their residents for a couple of hours after they finish helping them move in their items?
Yeah, definitely. They can hang out and don't have to leave immediately. They can see the space and can go for dinner and can walk campus and all that. We do have a guest policy if you're planning on staying multiple nights, to be cognizant of that. But no, of course, yeah, we know it's a big transition and a big deal. So family is welcome to stay around for a few hours. And usually most people go out for dinner, or I think it's the Seahawks are actually playing that weekend at home or something. So I think people are doing that. But yeah, encouraged to walk around, check out campus before you leave or not.
Thank you. The next question is going to be for dining. If there are any unexpected or expected changes in schedules for dining, what is the best way for individuals to know the different hours for areas of campus?
So where they can definitely go is our Dine on Campus website. There's an hours page. It's like the second or it's under like the second or third navigation tab. Things under the second one. And so they can always visit that for the most up-to-date hours of operation. But if like something happens, right, where the power goes out in a unit or something and like Starbucks is going to be closed or something like that, we'll usually blast that on social media as well. Like we'll try and put it out on as many channels as possible just to ensure that students in the campus community know, that there's something that's closed or that there's an hours change or something like that. So we try and keep everybody in the loop the best we can, but they can certainly proactively check our website.
Thank you. All right, so I've seen a couple of questions also pop up throughout the day about this, so it could be good to answer live. But what could move-in look like if someone isn't moving in with a car or is moving in just alone, so they don't have anyone helping them out?
Yeah, I think it'll be quite easy. Hopefully, so we still check in at 10. We do have golf carts available, so we can drive people around connect from A to B. And like Ashley referenced earlier, we have Western Welcome leaders who can help you with your stuff and unloading it. So yeah, definitely don't need the car. Just depending on obviously what you have, but we do have golf carts that can get people from A to B depending on what your check-in location is and how close your building is. And again, we have staff that can help unload your stuff for you.
Okay. I do want to say if people do have any lingering questions, we will be closing out the webinar at about 1:30. So definitely, if you haven't already done so, make sure to put your questions in the chat because we will be answering our last few questions across the next few minutes. Some more questions for dining that popped up. So during move-in periods, like the move-in weekend, are residents able to use their meal swipes to also pay for their family members to eat in the dining halls?
I believe they get guest swipes, right, Dante? So the meal plans come with guest passes, which they can use for their parents or friends that are there.
Thank you. And then also for dining, with the different meal plans, they usually do have at least a number of meal swipes for the overall plan, but could you use, like, do they have to be used by a certain timeline throughout the quarter, or is it just an overall number for the entire quarter for use?
It's an overall number for each quarter. So if you get like the Campus 125, we'll load 125 swipes on as a tender for you to use throughout the quarter, and then for the next quarter it will reset with another 125, if that makes sense. And so you can use as many as you want throughout the week or as few as you want. Student schedules change, right? Academics change, group meetings, want to go out to dinner, whatever it might be. So we give students that flexibility to use them how they want to.
Thank you. For residents that might not have guest meals included in their dining plans, are there other ways for them to be able to access guest swipes if they're not included as part of what they already have assigned?
Sorry, Ashley, could you repeat that really quick?
Oh, yes, some people are asking if their meal plan doesn't include the guest meal plan swipes. If there is a way for them to be able to add those in, or if they have to just change their overall plan that they have.
Dante, can you speak to that?
A really good alternative would be utilizing dining dollars and purchasing and uploading dining dollars to your account. There is typically no restriction over how you use your dining dollars, who you use it with, and what and where those dining dollars are used. And so we typically encourage those individuals who have meal plans without guest passes to utilize their dining dollars as an alternative.
Alrighty, so I see our monitors are answering some of the last questions in the chat, so I'll let them do that. I do want to give our panelists a couple of minutes just to see if they have any last points that they feel will be really important for people to know that we didn't touch on with any of the questions, or if there's any specific information for fall opening that you feel is imperative to re-mention again. For the residents life side, Rich, if there's anything that you feel was missed that you would like to mention again?
Just probably the virtual community meetings that happen before you get here. So again, if you go to the Explore the Buildings and click on whatever building you're assigned, Fairhaven and whatnot, there is a virtual meeting with the resident director, who is that full-time live-in professional person, and they'll kind of go through, you know, we're talking about moving in general. They'll talk about what does that look like at Mathis, Nash, Buchanan Towers, whatever, and they'll talk a little bit more about what the building has to offer and kind of the initiatives and things like that. And the second part of that meeting is actually for their families or parent support folks, about, because we know it's a big transition and what to expect and things like that. So yeah, I just want to kind of co-sign and highlight those, and you can find those on the Explore the Buildings community page.
I'll also say on the assignment side as well, another quick reminder I want to give people as well. It's just a quick reminder just that a lot of the information regarding move-in has been sent to residents via their email. So definitely make sure to double check your email for any communication regarding your move-in timeframes. It's also how a lot of communication is going to be sent out if anyone is part of an early arrival program. I also want to re-reference a lot of our move-in website, because a lot of the information we've gone over today, and as well as some points that we didn't touch on too in depth, are also located here, including our move-in guide, which again has a lot of the information in a quick digestible format, including maps and different directional information as well. So please make sure that you all take the time to look through all of those resources as well. Dining, was there anything that the Dante or Nikki that either of you would like to mention?
I'd say also, I know we put the website in the chat for everyone. We're continuing to build that out. So like as we get closer to the start of school, you'll see like we'll have a campus map on there, and it's like a Google map, so you can see where all the dining locations are. Which will be helpful, right? Because there's the campus is very spread out. You'll be able to see the hours of operation, you know, as we get closer and we add in the location. So it's still being built out a little bit, but we're really excited for it to be such a useful tool for everyone. The other great platform that I would really suggest that your students, if you're a student on the line or if you're a parent, for your students to download is the Dine on Campus app. So we'll be launching an app based, well, the app is the app, but you'll be able to select Western Washington as a school on there, which will give you kind of that easy on the go access of the menus, the hours, events that are coming up, promotions, and all those kind of those necessary things that you're always looking for with dining. So that'll be really helpful, I think, for everyone. And then Dante, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
I think you covered most of it, Nikki. There were some really wonderful questions, and I appreciate everybody engaging at a high level. And hopefully we've answered everything that you came in here hoping to find out.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for attending our webinar today. We will be posting a recording of the webinar on our housing website. So if you need to review back to any of this information, to just re-review information that was discussed, or to have the quick reminders about where to locate any of the information that was discussed, please feel free to take a peek at those websites. And again, we do look forward to seeing you all for fall move-in, whether you're coming early or coming in the 21st to the 24th, and we hope it'll be a great rest of your summers. Have a good one, everyone.